Hi, I'm Erin Hayden, a special education consultant, certified master IEP coach, and a graduate level teacher educator. But my most important work centers on supporting adults who are trying to support kids through big emotions and complex moments. I'm glad you're here. If you're watching this, there's a good chance someone in your life is having a hard time right now. Maybe it's your child who's having frequent meltdowns, a student whose behavior keeps disrupting class, or even a team that just can't find their rhythm. Mindfulness and meditation are often talked about in the context of disability, and they can be incredibly helpful there, but they're also used far more broadly. In fact, these practices have been credited with helping struggling sports teams completely turn things around. And I can already hear what some of you might be thinking, because I've heard it many times before. You don't know my kid. They can't sit still. Their mind never stops. There's no way this is going to work. I get that. I've had to learn how to quiet my own restless mind and body. And I've seen firsthand how skepticism shows up before people even want to try. One of the most well-known examples comes from professional sports, where mindfulness practices were introduced to athletes whose entire job involved constant motion, intensity, and pressure. And the results have been dramatic. So, if those strategies can help adults operating at that level, it's worth considering what they might offer the young people in our lives too. The mindfulness and movement strategies I'm about to share aren't about fixing behavior or forcing calm. They're about helping the body slow down, because when the body settles, everything else has a better chance of following. And honestly, you might find a few of these ideas helpful for yourself as well. So let's talk about what this actually looks like in practice. Behind me, you'll see some free printable resources. They can be found on the resources page of my website, erinhayden.com. You might find them helpful to print out after the video as a refresher for the things I share in this video today. But for now, let me share some thoughts about practicing mindfulness and meditation with young people. This isn't about forcing yourself or any young person you're working with to sit still, clear the mind, or do anything the right way. You don't need to find a completely silent space to engage in mindfulness and meditation practices, and you don't need special equipment like mats or pillows. I'm actually at a hotel this weekend, which is why my background's blurred. We're here for a hockey tournament, and it is anything but quiet, but I still practice every day. What you do need is a body and a little bit of safe space around it. We're going to start with something very simple. I'm going to guide you the same way I would guide a young person that I'm working with. Feel free to follow along so that you can get a sense of how the process goes. I'll go through the motions too as I walk through this with you. And I will link the transcript below the video in case you want to use the next section to write your own script for guiding someone else. Start by finding a comfortable position. That can be seated or standing, and you can do this with your eyes open or closed, whatever works for you in the moment. We're going to make our way through some gentle, purposeful movements so that we can focus our mind on the activity instead of some of the racing thoughts that often cause us trouble throughout the day. As you go through the process with me, try to focus on what your body is doing, but it's okay if your mind drifts. If the mind starts to wander, and it probably will, you can simply say to yourself, "That's a thought. I'll come back to that later." Then gently bring your focus back to what your body is doing. If you're doing this exercise standing up, you may want to stand near a wall or by the back of a chair so that you can rest your hand for support should you need it. Feel free to pause the video if you need to go get some type of support. When you're ready, start by gently lifting one foot and slowly rotating it. I'm doing that now. You're not trying to get a big range of motion, just enough to notice the movement. You can do this for as little as 5 seconds or for 30 seconds or longer. Follow what feels right for your body. When you feel ready, place that foot back down and repeat the motion with the other foot. If you didn't get something to support you earlier and you're struggling with balance now, pause the video to get a chair or move closer to a wall for support. Now, take a moment to stand or sit with both feet planted firmly on the ground. That contact matters. It gives the body information about where it is and what's supporting it. Take a few seconds to feel the sensation of the floor or even the surface of your shoes against the bottom of your feet. Take a nice deep breath and slowly release it. Now we're going to focus on rotating one hand at a time. There's no rush here. Slower is actually better. As you move, notice what you feel. Maybe warmth, tension, stiffness, or maybe not much at all. Whatever you notice is fine. The goal isn't to feel relaxed. The goal is to notice. If it feels okay, you can continue this kind of slow movement with other parts of your body. Your shoulders, your neck, your wrists, or you can stay right where you are. There's no sequence you have to follow. You're letting the body lead instead of telling it what to do. As you move, or even if you've chosen to stop moving, see if you can notice what your body is doing without trying to fix it. You don't need to decide whether something feels good or bad. Just gather information. And for a lot of kids and adults, that alone is a pretty big shift. When you're ready, let the movement slow down and stop. If you chose to do this exercise with your eyes closed, gently open them and return your attention to the space around you. Take a moment to notice how your body feels now compared to when you started. Thank you for walking through that with me. Before we wrap up, I want to share a bit about why this works. You may not feel a big shift the first time you do an exercise like this, but with repeated practice, I'm quite sure you will find your body feels noticeably different afterward. When emotions run high, the body's usually already working overtime. Slow, intentional movement gives the nervous system a chance to reset without lectures, consequences, or problem solving. That's why this can be helpful even when talking things out doesn't work. I use a similar progression myself, often in the morning before I even brush my teeth, and again in the evening to transition out of a chaotic day. I move through intentional breathing, gentle mind-body connection, and a period of quiet reflection. I use a simple timer on my phone to help me move from one phase to the next. The details matter less than the consistency and the permission to keep it simple. This kind of practice doesn't have to last long to make a real difference. Even a minute or two can help regulate an overactive nervous system. You can use this at home, in the classroom, in a locker room, or right in the middle of a tough moment when words aren't working and emotions are running high. This isn't about control. In the morning, it can help create space to set positive intentions for the day. Later in the day, it can help the body settle during times of overstimulation and stress. Over time, practices like this teach the body something important. It knows how to come back to steady. And when the body learns that, big emotions become easier to manage for kids and adults alike. I hope this felt useful. If you try these strategies with a child, student, or team that you care about, please feel free to reach out and share how it goes. I'd love to hear what's working for you and what questions come up along the way.